Here we go, it's the show you've been waiting for. Just sit back, you will see you're gonna want some more. They talk about love, life, and fun all in one. Let's take a ride. It just begun. Come on, everybody, you're sure to get your laugh on. It's the Candy and Kev Show.
There we go. Let's try that again. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Candy and Kev Conversation, the home edition. This is your boy Kev.
Hey guys, I'm Candy, and before we go any further, there's a little special thing we have to do.
There we go.
Okay, there's a little special thing we have to do today. Today is a very special show with very special content, and so
hit your share button.
We need, before they hit their share button, because of the very special content. Okay, my producer is telling me to go ahead with the hit that share button. Go ahead, everybody, and hit that share button. And I'm not going to do anything I'm not going to ask you to do something that I haven't and not going to do myself. So guess what I'm doing? I'm hitting that share button as well. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Let me just hit that share button with a couple of couples I know. And the reason why is because today is a very, very special edition of our show. It is an adults only edition of our show. So
this is a relationship Tuesday on a whole nother level.
Y'all. We brought in the pros, we brought in the professionals. But we're going to ask you to go ahead and hit that share button. And we thank you for doing that. Go ahead and hit that share button. All right. So my husband came up with this very tight and precise timeline, but because I have so many cues and props over here, I really can't see. So, baby, am I on track? Are we doing okay?
Yes. Okay. The reason why I wanted to hit the share button, because you don't want to have everybody joining after you hit the share. You don't want to put the other disclaimer up before.
Oh, okay.
So I have it in chronological order.
I mean, you better go see what the quarantine has done. It has brought Black brilliance and excellence to the Candy and Kev show. Listen, guys, we have so much to cover. Asked you to hit that share button because this is the grown, real talk conversation today. And because it is the grown and real talk conversation today,
while we're on that,
we are going to... I know that we're going to be doing some very special things, but before we get into that, you'll see that we're rocking some very special things today. I'm rocking my throwback to the 80s, Dwayne and Whitley, who's it? Ron, Kim, and Freddie shirt, because it's about the couples. Dwayne and Whitley was one of our favorite couples.
That's not that true.
Dwayne and Whitley were one of the very special couples in the 80s, as well as Martin and Gina. And coming up, when we were dating and early in our marriage, people used to call Kevin and I the Martin and Gina in real life of their lives. And so I'm rocking this Izzy and Liv couples throwback to couples shirt. And my husband, what you rocking today?
I am rocking my Child of God t-shirt, Christian Advisory t-shirt. It's I love it. It's a hoodie, but a short sleeve, so it's good for the springtime. If it get a little cold out, I can throw my hood on. It definitely fits great. My zipper's on the side. It got the logo on the back. Dope product. I definitely would say support this brand, support this product.
So that is Christian advice. So a couple of weeks ago, I think it was last week, we talked about how this brand was bringing out special face masks. Because you know that in the new normal, face masks are a thing. They're a thing now for many people when they go out. So we ordered our face masks from Christian Advisory, and they come in this sealed package. I opened the seal last night so I can try it out, but they come in this sealed package, and I got one of each, so you would be able to see each style that they offer. So this first one, as we know, their statement is child of God and make a bold statement. So here is how it fits on the face. So
she has two.
So that's
the other one like that.
So it's child of God there, or we have.
You got the cross one right there.
So you can go ahead and order They're comfortable. Oh, and also they include the very important pocket for that filter, because guys, we need to be putting that filter in these face masks as well. So they include that slide so that you can purchase your filter and that you can keep these clean and keep them sanitized and swap out your filter. So go ahead and check out Christian Advisory for your face mask needs. Make a bold statement, child of God. Thank you. Now,
so listen, before we go any further, if you know couples, married people that are in a relationship, this will be a perfect conversation for them.
Or not just married people.
It can be engaged, it can be your boyfriend, girlfriend, but this is all about a particular topic that we're going to discuss. This is probably not something you want to have your little kids around.
So send them off to do their homework.
So while you're doing that, we'll be right back. This is the nighttime edition.
Nighttime in the daytime. Listen, we have our very special guest. Tag some couples that you may know for this very special edition. So we have sorry, y'all. We have none other than a very special guest, Dr. Erica Evans, who is our resident expert. She in human sexuality and marriage and family, and she is also a sexologist. So she holds her PhD in human sexuality studies from Widener University and her master's in human sexuality education as well. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist and sexologist, and her goal is to help couples navigating that sometimes hard to talk about subject of sex in their marriage, and sometimes it's actual sex, and then sometimes it's infertility, sometimes it's anything about human sexuality for some men. So for infertility with men and women, because that's not just a female thing. Some men have problems with infertility as well, but she's very near and dear to my heart, because not only was she one of my professors when I was in grad school studying to be a licensed clinical therapist, but she was also my mentor as I practiced for a number of years as a therapist as well. And so when I say that we try to bring to you the best that we have access to and the best that I know, I brought the best in. And the good thing about it is, Kevin will tell you, is ladies, she does not take sides.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. So listen, everybody, make sure that you again, put your kids in the other room.
This is not a conversation for the kids.
Listen, bring your boo in, get yourself some popcorn, and get ready to have some grown folk conversation. We are excited to have her. Listen, so how do you want to go into this, Candy? Because we know we posed some questions, it's just some random questions.
It was a select group of people that we asked questions from, and then so what happened was we saw emerging themes pop up, and so we collapsed all those questions into 4 main questions that these themes fell under. Because let's just face it, guys, we are in week 8 of this quarantine, and for some, sex it maybe was not an issue before you got married, but now it's an issue. Or maybe it was, I'm sorry, before the quarantine. It maybe, your sex life was not an issue before the quarantine, but now it's become an issue in week 8. Perhaps your sex life in your relationship was an issue before the quarantine and it's gotten even worse. So we brought in Dr. Evans. We submitted these questions to Dr. Evans and she has some very helpful tips. So we want you to tune in. You may need to grab a pen and piece of paper to write down some of these tips.
So let's get right into the first question.
Hi, Candy and Kev. Thanks so much for having me join you this week. I really appreciate it. So we have a series of questions about sex and sexuality during COVID-19. And before we even start into those questions, what I would want to say is this is a really turbulent time for a lot of people. We are experiencing a lot of stress that is honestly and expectedly and understandably going to have an impact on how you experience sex and sexuality. So please provide yourselves with a little bit of grace and patience. Your normal sexual scripts may not feel so normal right now, and that's okay. So our first question is, my marriage was fragile before the quarantine, and now the longer this lingers, I'm noticing our relationship is getting even more strained. We love each other, but I'm afraid this extended closeness may lead to divorce. And here's the thing about that. So it may lead to divorce, but what I would encourage any couple that is concerned or even thinking about separation or divorce is not to make any sudden changes to the relationship right now. Don't make any large life-changing decisions. And one of the reasons for that is the way that we're thinking, the way that we're experiencing life right now, because of COVID-19 and because of being quarantined together, it may have a significant impact on how we're seeing not only ourselves, but our partners. So don't make that decision. My cat may jump up and join us, so I'm just giving you a heads up with that. When you say that your marriage was fragile, I'm not really sure what that means. But if you feel like there was a lack of intimacy beforehand, this is the time. This is actually an opportunity, is what I've been telling many of my couples. This is an opportunity to redefine intimacy because you have so much confined time together. So really have a candid discussion on what your needs are, what your concerns are, what you're seeking from one another, and make sure that there is some distance. And what I mean by that, I know not everybody has the freedom to go into separate spaces, but take a walk if you need to take a walk. If one person can stay in the living room and one person go into the bedroom, make sure that you have that individual time if that's allotted or available to you, because those moments of solitude also help you when it's time to rejoin, and also help to facilitate better intimate conversations.
So couples, you're gonna get the educational background from Dr. Erica, and you're gonna get the Candy and Kev version. Please don't kill each other during the COVID panic. If you in a relationship, this ain't the time to kill your spouse.
This is what I loved about this whole thing. She talked about Dr. Erica. Let me put some respect on that. She talked about redefining intimacy.
Yes.
Because for a lot of us, maybe we thought intimacy was strictly the act of having sex. But, Dr. Erica talked about redefining what intimacy means. And so that means that many of our couples are going to have to do something that they may have never done before. They could have been married just as long as Kevin and I, 26 years, but they never really had the conversation about sex.
Now, this is something that definitely men struggle with. Men struggle with the intimacy. We kind of just want to get straight to the sexual act and everything, but intimacy is important. We shared the story, and I'm not going to go into the deep detail how me and my wife, we couldn't have sexual encounter for almost a year because of a medical condition. And it created, after we were able to come on one accord, it created an intimacy that was by far more intimate than we had ever had prior to us being able to have sexual intercourse. So men, you have to find that way to to really delve into the intimacy aspect. And again, it's not all about just the penetration. Sometimes it's about the holding of the hands, the caressing, just the holding. I've been reading up on, I'm gonna say it wrong, Kota Sutra.
Karma Sutra.
Karma Sutra, where sometimes you might just have to lay and breathe with each other and find intimacy. So fellas, we got to find that, because it's important not only for your mate, but it's also going to make a difference in your sexual relationship for you.
And also, ladies, we may have and I know this was something, and we keep it real here on the Candy and Kev show. I've shared with our audience over the years that as a young person, I was sexually assaulted. So, years later when I got married, that was one of the things that Kevin and I had to work through. So we had to redefine our intimacy, even in that respect. So let's get into some more conversation with Dr. Erica.
So our second vignette is my partner and I had a healthy sex life prior to the quarantine, but now things seem to have changed. My partner seems to think this quarantine means sex all day, every day, and I am not feeling the same way. I once enjoyed sex with my partner, but now, months of being quarantined, sex has become synonymous with chores. Oh, that's horrible. Help! This quarantine is ruining my life. So very real. So here's the deal with different sex drives, and actually there's two different things that I would want to say. One is we're still talking about a quarantine and trauma and COVID, right? Nobody really knows how they were going to respond to this. And so for some people, that desire to be more sexual could be a result or a response to their feeling of trauma and wanting to be close to their partner, right? And for other people, their desire to not have as much sex or to not be as connected can also be a result of the trauma of being quarantined in COVID. So that's why communication is so essential during these times, because because we're a couple, we may not be seeing or experiencing this kind of trauma the same exact way. So that's one thing that I would want to say. In all cases, I would also encourage you to have a conversation about, listen, I can see that you have a need to be more sexual, but I'm really interested in finding out is this that you want to have sex, or is it that you feel a need to be touched and feeling close to me, right? And helping people to really make that distinction. So often folks confuse or conflate the two, and they feel that desire to be close is really, it can only be sex, when really what they may be seeking is a hug or a kiss or a handhold. So I would want to have a conversation with them about that. If your response is, I'm just not interested in sex right now, then discussing your boundaries with your partner is really, really important. If your mind isn't in it, if your heart isn't in it, and you're just performing for the sake of your partner's enjoyment, that's not equal and that's not fair. So disclose that. During a quarantine is not the time to engage in self-sacrifice. Instead, it's really an opportunity for you to draw closer and work together as a team. And that includes the sexual script that you work with.
So I loved her response. First of all, can y'all see why she was my mentor? First of all, for those of you who are joining late, this Dr. Erica, she was not only one of my professors in grad school, but she was also my mentor as I was a practicing licensed clinical therapist. So I just love her responses. The one thing that really stuck with me in this response was that sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes we confuse wanting sex with wanting skin time, meaning wanting touch and wanting to be hugged or held.
Mm-hmm. Let me say this, because I feel like it's certain people that are sitting there right now and their mindset is thinking this. I thought y'all was gonna be talking about positions and stuff. Listen, let me explain something to you. You won't get to the positions if these things aren't put in place. This is so you can have a healthy sexual relationship with your mate.
Grown.
Yes, because a lot of times, and again, we want to get straight to, I wanted to know what position, or how can I do this and how can I do that. We're trying to set it so that both parties are satisfied, and it's not so much just what is it called? Action, but it's also an intimacy and it's long lasting relationship. So
so I loved Dr. Erica's tips and delineation about understanding when you're desiring of intercourse or when you really just need.
Sometimes you just want to be touched.
Or held.
Touch me.
So as we're learning through Dr. Erica today, we have to communicate our sexual desires and needs in the moment, because sometimes, and one thing I'll never forget this from one of the classes that she taught, sometimes it's about making love, sometimes it's about you making love to your partner, sometimes about you wanting your partner to make love to you, and sometimes it's I had a stressful day and let's just come together.
Knock my wig off.
And I raised my hand. I said, Dr. Erica, is that okay? She said, yes. So understanding the difference.
Make my toes curl. See, Katie trying to be politically correct because her mentor looking at her. I'm just ignorant.
Because actually the 4 ways of it, the 4th way I can't say because I don't want to offend the saints, but it's actually in the textbook. It's
F me. That's what they say. And it's not forgive me. Excuse me, Lord. But I didn't say the word. Never mind.
No. So sometimes it's like I said about that intimacy. Sometimes it's pleasuring your partner.
Yes.
Sometimes it's about your partner pleasuring you. And then sometimes this is just about, come on, let's get it in.
Now, Saints, we get ready to get real heavy on y'all in a minute. So the next segment, if you little timid by certain things, this is for mature only. So we're going to go into the next question.
We're trying to help you to have grown,
so if it ain't applicable to you, don't get upset and offended. This is for folk that's applicable to.
So our third vignette is something that many of my couples are actually dealing with. My partner and I have been able to maintain a healthy sex life during this quarantine, but now without normal activities of date nights and coming back for a nightcap, sex is getting boring. How can we spice this up? So I think there are really 3 basic components to this that can help the boring or the doldrums of being sexual with one another. The first one is sexting. If your partner is in a meeting or working and you're taking a shower or in your bedroom potentially masturbating, sending a sext with that visual or the words to go along with it can be very scintillating and tantalizing for your partner. It gives them something to look forward to. And while sexting is a part of our culture normally, I think it's very intentional in this situation, especially considering that you're quarantined with one another. The other thing that I would encourage people to do is using food as an aphrodisiac. Finding ways to meal prep together, even though I understand meal prep is not always very sexy, but finding recipes that are directly connected to enticing or increasing your sexual drive, or, that foods that for some people are perceived to be more sexy can be a really, really exciting experience. And then my third tip for you would be to engage in role play. And I know that sounds silly, but getting out of your head and creating a character with your partner is a delightful way to spice up things in the bedroom and potentially do things that you wouldn't normally do on any other given day. The last thing that I would also add when trying to spice up things in the bedroom is to just really think about what you want and also what your partner wants. And what I mean by that is acts of kindness, and this sort of goes back to love languages, but acts of kindness, acts of sensuality can be really, really exciting for your partner. And some examples of that might be drawing a bath for your partner, writing them a love letter, writing them an erotic poem. Again, fresh flowers, like anything that you think will get them interested and motivated to want to be close and intimate with you in a physical way can certainly mix things up and increase the likelihood of a positive and enjoyable sexual experience.
Okay, so Dr. Erica, we gonna spice it up. We got some
Popeyes.
Popeyes chicken.
Listen,
baby.
I got some golden flour.
Girl,
that just did it for me right there.
We got to hurry up with this show.
Oh.
Here, take that spicy chicken. But I'm loving this advice because what happens is sometimes we never had an opportunity.
That was really the spicy piece.
Yeah, I really gave you the spicy chicken. Sometimes we never had the opportunity to have these real raw conversations before about sex and intimacy before we got married or before we got deep and heavy into a committed relationship, a monogamous relationship with someone. Because let's face it, some people are very uncomfortable with talking about sex. I'm just going to say, before I went to grad school and had encountered Dr. Erica, I actually had her for several classes. I really wasn't open to talk a lot about sex, again, because I had experienced a sexual trauma at a young age. I was sexually assaulted. So it was hard for me to talk to Kevin about certain things. It's just, all I could say was when he touched me a certain way or he did things, it would trigger me and I would just like clam up. And I wouldn't be able to tell him why that was uncomfortable for me.
And another thing that I realized is a lot of times, especially within a lot of marriages fail within even the Christian realm because they don't talk about sexuality in their relationship. So both people are unsatisfied, leads to infidelity. So it's very important. And I think it's time now where we need to have those conversations. And if it's something that God made, like, why can't we discuss it?
So it's so funny because I remember the first class that I sat in with Dr. Erica, you know, coming up strictly Pentecostal, right? Yeah. She was saying certain things and my face was just like, now here I am married with 3 kids and I'm just like, and she cracked up laughing. It was like, are you okay, sweetie? I'm like, yeah. But by the time the end of that semester, I signed up for her next class.
I'm signing up for the next one. I'm going to just tell y'all that right now. I'm sitting in there taking notes. And y'all know I don't take notes.
But you know, I'm always a good note taker. And y'all know I did graduate with honors. And so I'm
going to graduate magna cum cultura sutra lamity. I just made that up. That's amazing.
Anyway, let's get back to Dr. Erica with the good information.
2.
Our fourth vignette, it really speaks to people having different sexual libidos or sexual drives in a relationship. Our sex life was already strained before the quarantine. Actually, besides our sex life, our marriage is actually pretty good. But now my partner has been commenting more and more on the lack of bedroom intimacy being even more apparent in our marriage. So now we find ourselves fighting over silly things when in the end, I know it's just my partner being horny. I'm stressed and sex is the last thing on my mind right now. Help! I love my marriage, I love my partner, I just don't want to have sex as much as my partner. And again, this is so real. If you had differing sex drives before the quarantine, it's highly likely and understandable that your sex drives are going to be different during the quarantine. What I would really ask a couple in this situation is, what is the purpose of sex for you? And when I say what is the purpose, I mean, is it for intimacy? Is it for pleasure? Is it for procreation purposes? What is your purpose for being sexual? And I would want a couple to have that conversation with one another. My reason for that is finding out the purpose really helps to deconstruct what is it that that partner is seeking, right? So if the purpose for one partner is to experience physical pleasure, then I would want to figure out what are all the ways that we can experience physical pleasure from one another. Is it really just through having sex, or is it that you need me to give you a massage, right? Or is it that you need me to hold you a little bit longer? Or is it because you are seeking genital stimulation, right? Like, that's going to help me figure out what exactly it is that you're seeking. If your desire is to be closer to your partner, then I would also want to find out what are all the ways that we can experience closeness to one another. When you say that you're fighting more frequently, I would also want to ask both of you, if you both acknowledge that your fights are silly, figure out ways that you can put yourselves in a timeout and acknowledge to one another, this is a silly fight. What are we even doing right now? especially considering you've identified that your marriage is great in other ways. Certainly, sex is one of the things that creates or causes so much friction in a relationship. But when your needs are differing, it's really, really critical for you to own that with your partner and say, I'm not here with you. I'm stressed out, and what I need is fill in the blank. And at the same time, hear and respond to what your partner needs as well, and then figure out what your negotiation or middle ground might be.
Now, this was a big one, especially for me and Kevin, because, all right, y'all know Kevin is 2 years younger than me, but that doesn't make big of difference because just listen to me. In our 26 years, our individual sex drives have ebbed and flowed. Sometimes his has been like on full, like, let's just do it all the time. And I was just like, can I get a break? I mean, I need an ice pack at this point.
This is a real conversation. She's like, I'm raw! I'm like...
And then sometimes, I was the one like, come on, Kev, come on, Kev, come on, Kev. And he like, baby, I think you broke it. So, sex drives and understanding the rhythm of each one of your sex drives and being patient with them, that is a big thing, finding that middle ground.
One of the things Dr. Erica said to me yesterday, and we were just preparing for this, is she said, Kevin, sometimes you have to set the romance. Like she said, sometimes you have to set the atmosphere for her to want to be intimate.
Y'all listen to what Kevin said.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I do. I come to the bed butt naked. She's like, Kevin, that is not setting there. I was like, well, okay. I said, well, I'll get my mood lights out. Y'all know my mood lights. But listen, y'all, this has been a great conversation. We know we got a lot of questions.
So I told you if we were going to have this conversation, I was going to bring the best. Not only was she my professor in grad school, but she was also my mentor as I practice clinical counseling. I'm sorry. But listen, not only that, she has consented that once this quarantine is all over and our show is up and running on TV, she is going to be our resident sex therapist on the show, on the TV show. So this is not the last time you will see Dr. Erica. You will see more of her. But let me give you a little information. You can find Dr. Erica on her website, Life with Dr. Erica. That's her website. And on Instagram, you can find her at life.with.erica. I'm sorry, Kevin, can you put that up? Because that's a lot. He's putting it up. Okay. So you can find her on Instagram and you can find her on Facebook. And listen, guys, she told me to tell you, she's been watching the episode and commenting as we've been going on. But she told me to tell you all, because she's my mentor and I'm all about giving y'all the hookup. She is accepting clients on a sliding fee scale right now because of this COVID quarantine. She understands the financial burden that people are facing right now, but they may need help. So what you're going to do is... Take a breath, baby. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to just get it all in. What you're going to do is email her...
Right there on the screen for you.
At drericamft@gmail.com. Tell her that you heard about her on the Candy and Kev show, and that you would like to have a initial consultation, and she's going to take care of you.
Yes.
But make sure you tell her you heard about her off of the Candy and Kev show.
So yes, we appreciate you guys joining us today. Don't forget, you can still like and share this later. You can send it to friends and all that good stuff. We would not close this show out with at least having some kind of romantic music to help you set the mood. Hopefully this will get you engaged in conversation and get the tantalizing stuff going and all that good stuff. But we're going to leave you with this artist. This is a good friend of ours, Mr. Jeff Murrell.
But before we go, I know she's watching. Listen, Dr. Erica, thank you. I know you are a very busy woman and so many people pull on you because you are an expert in your field. Thank you for taking the time out to help little old me.
So thank you guys. Enjoy this segment by Mr. Jeff Murrell. You have a great week. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
La, la, la. my life with you. Will you marry me? Will you marry me? Will you marry me? Wanna spend my life with you. You have shown me how to love, shown me how to treat you, baby, shown me how to care the way that I'm supposed to. You're the one who completes me, mind, body, and soul. You are my perfect love. You have been sent from up above. La, 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 la. Oh, oh, oh. Will you marry me? Will you marry me? Will you marry me? Wanna spend my life with you. Oh, will you marry me? Will you marry me? Will you marry me? Wanna spend my life with you. La 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 You are my perfect love. You are my perfect love. And I thank God for you. You are my perfect love.
Candy and Cat.